What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Eddie Hearn, in a boxing scene article, has come out and said that the Anthony Joshua Kubrat Pulev winner might have to face another mandatory against Alexander Usyk, the WBO mandatory. Now, I find that kind of funny by Eddie Hearn, as I officially call him, Eddie the con artist. Didn't he just say a few days ago that he wanted a deal in place for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury on the condition that both guys get through their next fights? You know, Anthony Joshua is going to take on Kubrat Pulev, and Tyson Fury is going to fight Deontay Wilder in a trilogy. You know, he wanted a deal in place before those two guys fight their upcoming opponents. Now he's saying that the winner of Joshua Pulev will instead have to take on Alexander Usyk, who is a WBO mandatory. Now, Anthony Joshua has already, signed the contract to fight Kubrat Pulev, who is his IBF mandatory. You know, and it was already widely known that they was able to talk with Alexander Usyk and his team, and basically tell them that, hey, fight Derek Chisora, get through that, and you get Anthony Joshua next, assuming that he beats Kubrat Pulev in June. Everybody knew that was what the meeting was. Remember the big meeting they was having? They was all on, they took a picture and they sent it all over social media with Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, and a representative that was representing Alexander Usyk. I don't know if that was his manager or whoever was at his promoter, because Eddie Hearn has signed a co-promotional deal with Alexander Usyk to fight on with Matchroom Boxing. So we saw that meeting that took place, but ever since, you know, Fury defeated Wilder in the rematch, Eddie Hearn has been doing all these interviews, you know, and saying that, hey, he's ready to make the unification fight. That, you know, he was basically saying at one point that he wanted to do it next. He was like, let's not wait, man. Let's do it in June, man. You know, let's strike while the iron's hot. You know, we got all the titles in the UK. Let's make it happen. And then he went from that point to another point, moving the goalposts, ladies and gentlemen. He moved the goalposts and said, okay, well, we got to do this mandatory with Pulev and Deontay Wilder and exercise his rematch clause for a trilogy. So let's just do it in December at the end of the year. And let's already have a deal in place, on the condition that both fighters come through their next fight and we can have that fight take place in December. That's what Eddie Hearn said. Now he moved the goalposts again, ladies and gentlemen, for the third time. And now he's saying, well, hold on. You know, Anthony Joshua, if he gets through Kubrat Pulev or whoever, the winner of that is going to most likely have to face Alexander Usyk. Ain't no most likely to it. They're going to have to face him or give him step-aside money. Or if Eddie Hearn did say this in an interview, you know, maybe they go on and make the fight happen in December, and then the winner will just have to vacate, you know, right afterwards. He be promised a shot. I think he's promised a shot. The WBO mandatory challenger, Alexander Usyk, is promised a shot at the title by a certain date. And if they squeeze that fight in, like Eddie Hearn has been saying, by December, that might run in contrast with the deadline for a fight with Alexander Usyk. So Eddie Hearn is out here once again smoking mirrors, propaganda Eddie, out here making everybody excited. Oh man, we're gonna have a unification fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Not so fast, my friend. It ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Eddie Hearn is gonna try to get the odds in his favor every time, in every situation. Best thing for Eddie, and he knows this, he was just selling you guys a bill of goods. The best thing for Eddie to do is to let Anthony Joshua fight Alexander Usyk. Why? Because both guys are under Matchroom Promotions. And the next thing to do is, if Fury gets by Wilder, or Wilder gets by Fury, whoever comes out of there has got to fight Dillian Whyte by February 2021. You let that winner fight Dillian Whyte, and you got another. Guess what? Dillian Whyte is with Matchroom Boxing. So you've got both sides covered. You know, you got no matter what happens in a Joshua Usyk fight, the winner is under the umbrella of Matchroom Boxing. You hope Dillian Whyte pulls the upset over the Fury Wilder winner, you know, and then you got the other title, and then you have, best case scenario, you got all the titles under Matchroom Boxing umbrella. That's what Eddie Hearn is hoping for. Worst case scenario, Dillian Whyte gets knocked out, but he still has a title the other titles. You know, he just won't have the WBC title. That will go to the winner of Tyson and Fury and Deontay Wilder. Whoever comes through that trilogy beats Dillian White, which I expect them to do. He will still have the other belts, the other three major belts, the WBC, WBA, and the WBO. I'm not going to throw that minor league belt IBO in the equation. I have never heard of that belt until Eddie Hearn was going around here talking about the IBO belt like it was some major belt. But that's what Eddie Hearn is doing, man. What I'm trying to let you guys know is Eddie Hearn, once again, is smoking mirrors. That's why I affectionately call him Eddie the Con Artist. And I just laid out the examples of him doing just that. So don't believe anything this guy says, man. The guy is a promoter. He's a used car salesman at heart. What he's trying to sell you is a bunch of bill of goods. You always got to read between the lines and really figure out exactly his end point, exactly what he's really trying to accomplish, not what he's trying to sell you in front of a camera. You know, it's what he's really trying to do. You got to think outside the box when this guy's talking. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. But Eddie Hearn, a.k.a. Eddie the Con Artist, is back at it again. Just wanted to let you guys know what's going on, man. Don't expect Anthony Joshua. The moral of the story is don't expect Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury anytime soon. That fight is at least 2 fights away for both guys. Both guys are gonna 2 fights gonna have to at least take on 2 fights before that fight is has a chance of happening. So don't look for it anytime soon, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua's got 2 mandatories he got to take care of. And he's gonna fight those mandatories. Usyk already stepped aside for him to fight Pulev. Usyk's not gonna step aside and let somebody like a Fury, which he's a smart guy. He's a boxing guy that knows boxing. He knows that if Fury fights Joshua, Fury is going to be the favorite to win that fight. And if both fighters bring in their best, their A game, Tyson Fury is going to win that fight. And Alexander Usyk knows that Tyson Fury is a nightmare matchup for him. Guy that's 6'9", much bigger, is just as skilled as him. That's a horrible matchup for Alexander Usyk. So why in the world will Alexander Usyk step aside for Fury and Joshua? And Fury beat Joshua. Now he's got to fight Fury. That's a bad matchup for him. Anthony Joshua is a much favorable matchup for him. So don't look for him to step aside, folks. It was just, again, smoke and mirrors from Eddie the Con Artist, Eddie Hearn. It was just smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what it was. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Speak it, believe it, and receive it. That's Deontay Wilder. That's not Eddie Hearn, man. Don't believe that what he's saying. Like I said, he's a used car salesman at heart. He's selling you a bill of goods. He does what a lot of promoters do. It's not like he's the only one that does that. Don King, a lot of those promoters, Bob Arum, a lot of those guys say one thing in the media, but in the background, you know, and they making moves, they're making those deals in the back rooms. There's a whole different situation getting played out. So just let you know, take everything Eddie Hearn says with a grain of salt. Leave your comments in the comment section what you think about this video. What you think about Eddie Hearn, again, smoking with the smoking mirrors, saying one thing and then moving the goalposts, and then again moving the goalposts again, and now we're looking at a whole different dynamic as far as Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, a possible unification matchup happening at the end of 2020. It's not happening, folks. Like I said, it's 2 fights away for both fighters at the bare minimum of that fight taking place. We'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.